Alright, let's go ahead and get started here. Oh, hey masked man. That's a great start. We get some good old pantaloons here. MPL, sure. It's a funny bug. Beautiful, beautiful masked man. I wonder if it still stays during his animation. Yeah, it still does. Yeah, I'm walking here. What the hell? Anything crafting? Sure. And alright, let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with the Water Wars. Why not? Do the Frozen Swamp. SVD. 54R. Where are you? There we go. Don't need too much there. Then we have RPK, so we're looking for 762. Yeah, there we go. Alright, and then 5 medkits is probably not enough. Let's bring 2 more. Ammo, meds. I think that's everything, right? We're gonna assume it is. And we'll start at Railroad. We shall start at the railroad. So I haven't played in about a week, so we'll see how this goes.
Oh, we should have chosen another exit.
I think my mind's somewhat rotted from Counter-Strike a little bit. Let's get that ED going. Oh, there is. I can kind of guess. Ooh, interesting. That's fine. There's some weight there. Some inertia. It takes a second for you to actually, like, yeah, move, change from right to left. Alright, so we need to find some water thieves. Whoa, is the game really dark for anyone? Oh wait, hold on here. I might need to fix something here, I just noticed that. Curse you, NVIDIA drivers. Good morning. Yeah, the game is really dark. I already know what the fucking culprit is. Why can't we have nice things, NVIDIA? I will probably need to fix it after this raid. So enjoy an atmospherically dark, I guess, Frozen Swamp for just one raid. So thoroughly dark. Let me know if it looks as dark as it looks like as I see it. I think it should look artificially dark right now for you guys too. Like, holy shit. Is it my monitor or is it actually pitch black? Good morning, Josh. I already know what the culprit is basically, if it is actually doing it. It's, whenever I do a driver update for NVIDIA, it doesn't play nice. Alright. Alright, that's knocked out. We're good there. I probably want some of these guys' stuff though, actually. Alright, we're good there. Yoink, yoink, yoink. We need to kill 10 more. Actually, let me just go ahead and fix it right now. It might crash the game. I guess we'll have a little bit of fun tryout. I'm gonna turn the screen black for a second. Apologies in advance. Okay, that should alleviate it a bit. That already looks a lot better. And it didn't do anything to the game. Perfect. Thank you, NVIDIA. The true goat. Ow. Are you shooting at me? It's not allowed. Alright, we are good there. Hey, Dust, how's it going? Where the... Wild. We should probably be careful. There's always a grabber, or there's occasionally a grabber over in this segment of the map. And get a reload going. Hold still. Nope. Nope, back of that. Nope, didn't do anything. Hold still. No, 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 no. Yeah, no worries, yeah. This is me just squeezing in a stream while I can for the week. I'm still trying to figure out what the schedule's gonna be. Unfortunately, without like heavily loading it on the second half of the week, Monday, Wednesday can definitely not happen at the time they used to, or really at all, to be honest. Wednesday is off the table. Tuesday I can do kind of this early. It's gonna be, you know, 3-4 hour stream like normal. I could just do like a very second half of the week oriented stream schedule, because I can do like Thursday, Friday, like Saturday and Sunday, or like one of those two, and that would work. But I'll just have to see, I guess. We'll play around a bit. But unfortunately, yeah, the old schedule just will not work currently. At least the Monday, Wednesday part of it. And I guess the question is a Tuesday earlier stream better, or is it just better to offload it to the second half of the week? Hey Alex, how's it going? Hey Polsey. I mean, I would be very surprised if most people would consider me a stan. There's a certain level of blind following that accompanies usually a stan, and I would not generally put myself under that umbrella. Alright, explosives we don't really need. We have water. We probably need to leave soon just because I already drained off all my medicine. Alright, right there. Blood bags. Alright, let's head on out. Would that say you're open? It did say you're open. Unplayable. Alright, let's head on over. No, you're good, Policy. I know, I get it. The reason, yeah, I get called like, I get called a hater and like an actual like blind follower, both on both sides. I'm just like, I'm confused. It's like I'm not really either, to be honest. I like to put myself in the middle. Thanks. Is that a new light here? Is that light always here? Is that new? I don't remember that light always being there. It's also a light that is currently floating in the ether, but... Okay, no, it wasn't a rendered... Okay, we're good. It was a... It was a fire that wasn't rendered yet. Understood. I understand now why the light was there. Oh, wait. Alright. Yoink. What you shooting out there, friend? Oh, your guns. Huh? No, come back. I wanted to admire your handiwork. Who did you just kill? No, 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 no. Self-defense. Listen, I know he didn't shoot at me yet, but I had an inkling he was going to shoot at me, okay? It was self-defense. Everyone saw. I don't know. I mean, personally, I actually don't think they should keep to the monthly, like, update schedule, but I'm not them, so, I mean, I guess a week or two is what we're looking at, Polsey, if they keep the current cadence. The end of August. Like, I personally just do not think they should do a monthly cadence thing. Like, I would much rather it be based on, like, a block of features as opposed... And they've been kind of doing that, like, each monthly patch has had a block of content. I wouldn't say features necessarily. So I would want to see, like, a bigger update of just, like, bundling a few things together, like a big system too, if they're working on one. Here's my Rob, how's it going? Yeah, John, so yeah, Monday, Wednesday is gonna be basically off the tables for this next, like, until the new year. So we're gonna kind of just see how, like, I could do, I'm trying to think of, like, Tuesday, like, we're, like, do like a 3-4 hour stream here, probably, like, 3. Got somewhere to be later in the afternoon. So I could do Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, or I could just do like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sundays, one of those days. But yeah, Monday, Wednesday is basically off the table. So we're just playing around. I still want to keep to 3 streams a week. I just gotta figure out where I need to put them, basically. What are you? Yeah, just content, or just like a prop. Alright, let's head on out. But yeah, until I figure it out, like it's Friday's like the one guaranteed day as always. It's just kind of where I'm gonna work the rest of them in. Alright. So much stuff. And then Water Wars. How are we on water before I keep going? Can I ignore water for the rest of the day? Yeah, I can. Perfect. Let's go over to the Scav girl. Let's get her outfit on too, because why not? And you know what? We're gonna get nighttime stairway. I'm kind of feeling it right now. Let's get a few quests for it too. Guess you could also do Babel, but it's a damn shame because Babel looks so goddamn good. But man, I just can't bring myself to play it again. Oh, I mean, I'll probably play it once or twice this stream, but just, man, just not a lot there. All right, RPK. I don't have a lot of ammo here. I'll just bring 100 rounds, and we'll bring some 54 R2, and it'll be good. SVD. We'll bring 5 of these. Yeah, I mean, by the time the BF6 beta ended, there's not John currently. By the time the BF6 beta ended, I think I was done with it. Like, I had fun, but like, I honestly would probably just, like, if Battlefield 6 came out and like what they showed us was basically the culmination of the game, like, I would probably still go back and just play Battlefield 1 instead. I do think, like, it is a knee-jerk reaction, or rather it's oversimplification, but I do agree that, like, it's been codified.
Christmas.
That, along with apparently like an ex-DICE dev basically saying or leaking that EA's current program is heavy monetization on skins plus a 3-year cycle of games. So essentially what I mean by that is, oh god, what the fuck? Go away. Hold on. So what I mean by that is that apparently they're going into the Call of Duty cycle where they have multiple games on development, and so it essentially pushes them into an annual release cycle. So they're not making a new game every year, but they're cycling it up that a new game gets pushed out every year, if that makes sense. So like, the games will have a 3-year development cycle, and then they'll basically cascade. Now, once again, I don't know how true this is, but like, it was leaked by apparently an ex-DICE employee. So it shows that EA's back up to their EA things. But yeah, it strictly depends too, right, of if Battlefield 6 can get to the point where there's also like dedicated servers that I'm interested in. Because the stock gameplay just isn't 100% there for me, to be honest. Like, the fact they didn't, like... I personally take... Oh my god, I forgot drops. I personally kind of take issue in BF6 with how quick the medic revives are. Like, there's no, like, cooldown or charge up period. You can charge up if you want to heal people for more when you pick them up. But, like... the amount of jumping around, diving, like sliding you can do while picking up people instantly is insanely annoyingly crazy. And it doesn't feel like Battlefield, it feels like COD. Or it doesn't even feel, if it doesn't even feel like COD, it feels like a movement shooter, which I guess you can consider COD is, but like, it's even more of a movement shooter than COD is to some degree. The gunplay was good though, like that's the ultimate thing, is the gunplay was good. The time to kill was probably a bit too quick. But like, it was weird. Like, if the hit reg in Battlefield 6 felt good, the time to kill would probably be way too... What the hell? Oh, snipers. Shit, I'm gonna die here. Yep. Stagger into 2-shot. Yep. Alright. That be the way it be. No, what was I saying? Like, there's very clearly instances in Battlefield 6 where just like, sometimes you instantly delete someone and sometimes you're like, where are my bullets going? And there's this, you can tell the networking is not great on it too, because a lot of times when you die in Battlefield 6, it will seem like you never had a chance to respawn before you died. Or rather, it was so egregious that, like, outside of long-range scenarios, where, like, you know, there's lots of damage drop-off and inaccuracy, you don't, like, if you get shot first, you basically are not necessarily dead per se, but like, you don't really have a lot of agency anymore. It's more just like instantly just ADS and fight back and hope that they, you have better hit reg than them. Alright. And like, the biggest thing is that like, the first weekend I was like very skeptical because I was like, is this just me like learning the curve of the game and like, there's just better people than me? The second weekend though was like, I've had clear instances of like polar opposite games where it feels like I have good hit reg and bad hit reg, and like, it's not even close to how they compare. Let me get the upgraded one, right? Yeah, let me do that. Heisenberg. I honestly, in a way, Palsy, do not think there's been a decent Battlefield since Battlefield 1. Especially if you consider the whole launch, like, itemization, or the launch thing too, right? Where, like, a smooth launch. I mean, if I bring in all my... Let me just go over to Equipment Runner, actually. I need to bring ammo. I can't do that with other rig. Alright. Alright, good there, good there. Bring in some med kits. And we'll run it back. Yeah. Hey, Gory. It's going well. How are you?
Remember, we keep what we kill.
Alright, let's go find the VIP and hopefully not get sniped again. Let's just stay to the right, I guess. Yeah, no. I mean, Bad Company 2 was very popular for the longest time. It still might be popular too, to be honest. Like, Battlefield Company 2, like, or, yeah, Battle Company 2 was such a great multiplayer experience. I still think I prefer Battlefield 2 itself. I know a lot of people, like, hold 3 dear in their hearts, Battlefield 3, and I do think 3 is a good game, but I really, really, really like Battlefield 2. I personally think Battlefield 2 did such a good job of, like, including a little bit more of, like, the RTS elements. But it was so light.
Crush 'em to dust.
Corey, I don't know. I actually would probably say, I would prefer if they just keep cooking, to be honest, as opposed to pushing out a patch this August. Like, I don't know what they have in their pipeline, so if they already have something in the pipeline, you know, it is what it is, but, like, I would much rather wait to see, like, a larger patch with actual, like, system content or like systems, like a new map and a new special unit that you can't kill or interact with, really. I actually think it would be a damaging patch if they push one of those out again. But I do think that, considering their little dev blog on the Discord, I do think they might have heard the feedback from the recent Q&As. I'm not saying that everyone didn't like the Q&As, but like I definitely did relate to them, to be quite frank, that the Q&As were not really up to snuff. In the nicest way well, maybe not in the nicest way possible. I did just call them shit. Anyway. I was like, panic. No. The Q&As were not a good medium, considering just a multitude of factors. And I think they accomplished in one dev vlog what they've not been able to do in so many Q&As. At least personally for me. Because whenever I watched one of the Q&As, I would always come back like unassured of the direction of the game and what they're doing, and like, did they actually answer any questions and what are they working on? But like now I have a firm idea of like, hey, they're doing X, Y, and Z, they're actually working on animations for healing, like consumables are gonna have some effects on them where like, you know, they're gonna basically rebalance them and they make them actually impactful, especially the med kits that are gonna be slower to heal now, I imagine. And then like once again they doubled down and showed like, hey, the animation sync kills are coming, the you know, the rock paper scissors is coming, the specials will be able to kill each other, they will be able to die. So that's more reassuring than all the that they've said in their Q&As. At least for me. If you guys disagree, let me know. I'm kind of curious. But I definitely, at least, I mean, the more vocal elements, I guess, of the community, I definitely got that, like, that feeling from that, the Q&As weren't up to snuff. Alright, I think we're basically full, so we can just go kill our VIP and then head on out.
Bad luck today.
Are you VIP? You are not VIP. Oh god, lag. Those brawlers? No, just weird silhouette. But no, yeah, Corey for sure. And like, if they need more time to do that, I'm perfectly fine. I don't really think the monthly patch cycle fixes that. On the Discord, they keep them unlisted on YouTube, so you have to go to the Discord, or occasionally they'll post them to the Steam page, usually delayed. Like under the Steam news for the game, they'll post the Q&As, so you could do that too. The most recent Q&A, I think, was maybe several weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, knock on wood.
Christmas.
Alright, VIP. Please don't be in a suitcase. Sometimes that could happen. I said, please don't be in a suitcase. Don't be in a suitcase. VIP? No, come back here. Oh, hello. Okay, that wasn't the VIP. Unfortunately, sometimes enemies can spawn the suitcases up here. Like inside basically the walls. Mr. VIP? You're not the VIP, are you? No? Okay. Where'd my VIP at? I don't think I've ever seen him in the side room before, but maybe. He's probably under the ground or in a suitcase, though. You can't say we didn't try. Yeah. Wait. Yeah. Oh, hey. Oh, you pieces of shit. Sniper with a 50 cal just teleports behind you. Nothing personal, kid. Yeah, I'm guessing that's him down there in the wall. He's all by himself. Yeah, there seems to be a room down there I guess they get stuck in sometimes. Hey, mister, how's it going?
Bad luck today.
Ready, there is not. The most we have thus far is basically the dev blog, which they just posted their first one on the Discord. So roadmap wise, we got nothing. All right. We didn't find the VIP, unfortunately. He was probably in the floor. So we'll just move on. You win this time, Mr. VIP. Hiding from me. I guess we can do Babel. I'm gonna probably regret doing Babel, but whatever. Alright, let's play the Gunhead. Bring out the Pack Mule. Yoink. Do I have a painless? I do have a painless, okay. And then shotgun, sure. Alright, so we have medical supplies and help the scav escape, which they look to die a lot. Any other Babel stuff? That's gonna be hard. We'll see if we can do it. I know where he spawns, it's just that we didn't bring a gun for to help kill him with. Yeah, I don't really like necessarily think they should release like an actual factual roadmap. Like maybe like a very, very, very high level one, but getting into a very particular like granular roadmap is gonna be more damning than helpful.
One day they won't need us.
Alright, so sometimes the sniper spawns over here. I don't know where else he spawns, but scanning. The only time I've killed him is when he's been over here. So he actually spawns outside of the map, or like outside of an area you can actually get to. No, don't you aggro. I'm an innocent robot. Alright, let's see if we can find the sniper if he's not there. Yoink. That's locked. Yoink. Yoink. We find a drill, we can drill that open later. Alright, sniper, no sniping. Did I just get hit? What? No. Okay. Where the... Oh, yeah. Guessing the sniper's in a different spot. Come on. Okay, there he is, okay. Alright, that worked. Hey Hans, how's it going? Alright, we found the sniper. So he does spawn just over here, I guess. Like, we just found him a little bit more like to the left than I was expecting. I think, Corey, they were pushing, or like he mentioned the dev for Beta Decay mentioned like end of this year. Apparently they pushed it back. I think it was supposed to be this summer, but I think he pushed it back, if I recall correctly, because they were, or he was rather, because it's a solo project, because he was trying to include multiplayer now, if I recall correctly. And I think it's PvE multiplayer too, right? It's like co-op multiplayer. Another sniper? Yeah. I enjoy Beta Decay's combat loop for the most part. I'm kind of curious how he's gonna do his levels though. So far, like on these, at least on the test branch of the game, like that hasn't been updated in forever because he's working on the, you know, the current build. Like there's a few big maps, but they're all bespoke maps, right? So I'm kind of curious if like, is he gonna actually mess with procedural generation at all, or is it all gonna be bespoke maps?
Under fire from multiple vectors. Seek cover immediately.
Alright, I still need medical supplies. I think they might be only in the crates that you can actually, like, open up with the drills. Oh, fuck, man, there's an XO. Wait, can you still kill these? I didn't actually, like, try recently. Hold on. Oh, goodbye. That poor guy. Okay, you can still kill him. Good to know. I gotta be careful. I am, Oh yeah, no, like, okay, yeah, no rush. See, that's a real question. Did I just block myself off from going over here? Nah, just fiery hell. Okay, hold on, exposure. There we go, we're back. Run! Honestly, I mean, the dual screen display of the Nintendo DS would be a fantastic opportunity to have an inventory or dynamic inventory along with your game, right? Who's shooting base? Stop it! Oh god! Oh god! No! I'm sorry. Leave me alone. Oh my god. Thank you. You're finally doing your job, XO. Shoot drone with big gun. Make me happy and alive. Yoink. Or rather, up. Up we go. Listen, all I'm saying is that, like, everyone here should definitely do two things. Go to the Discord and request for a Nintendo DS version of the game, and then a PS Vita version of the game. Because let's be honest here, if Fundog can't do either of those, then, you know, game's just scuffed. It is what it is. Think of all our poor PS Vita brethren out there who can't play this game because Fundog won't support it. Mister, it is not. No, it is. Once you use it, it's gone until you go back. It's kind of just really an oh shit burden. Yeah, 100% Deftones. Like, the best use case I can kind of say for the head gun is, like, if you get caught in, like, a reload animation and you don't want to switch guns, or say, for example, you just want to kill things while you're reloading, that's kind of my preferred thing with the head gun right now, just because it can stagger pretty well. I don't feel safe. Those are that's a lot of tension. Oh god. The Zebo version. Chainsaw, so the residue of the Rat King cuss is all it requires you to do is just to follow the Rat King around, or just go to where the Rat King's killing things, and then pick up containers of things he kills. So you don't need to kill the Rat King to get the residue, you just need to like pick up stuff, or pick up crates, or I guess containers of enemies the Rat King kills. Though, you know, if you do want to murder the Rat King, actually, I don't think you can kill Rat King anymore because of the whole, what's it called? The medium mechs are basically invincible now. Which is fair. Considering we only have grenade launchers, that's fair. I'm gonna hide for a bit to see if they can either push me or chill the fuck out. I will say too, one nice thing about Gunhead's Gunhead is it does always point to the closest enemy. So if you ever hear, like, or not hear, you ever see your head snap as gunhead, you kind of know something's up. Like if you suddenly see your head move to the left or the right, you kind of know that, like, you know, something else is getting closer to you other than what you're aiming at. Oh god. Hey, fucking, he's playing a headshot angle. This is not fair. Oh god. I have to do this. This angle here is gonna be awful. Wait, what did I just die from? I guess I get shot. I just didn't say. Oh well. So close. Poor old gunhead things. And infinite respawns on Babel things. There is no escape. Rip old gunhead. They should like if the Rat King is a child of medium mechs in the sense of like it basically is just a medium mech with a different model and a few different like tags, like for example being friendly to scavs. They should have fixed the whole gun being dropped thing, but they could have maybe gotten overlooked if for example, just weirdly enough that like they fixed the medium mechs but not Rat King. Because there was a while, for example, like where like the medium mechs 2 for Europa would drop their they would drop their guns very, very quickly in the grand scheme of things. And that was fixed. But now it's like to the point where they're so fixed you can't even kill them. Which is fair. I think like if we can't kill a grabber or an Orga mech, sure, we can't kill a medium mech either. Like, that makes sense mentally to me. I think it's you, so they A12, right? Yeah, you do. No, Rat King is still friendly to scavs. It's green. It's still green for me. I would need to go find Rat King, but Rat King's still been green for me, MK. And I'm like the one who kills Rat King all the fucking time. Or at least I have in the past. And especially considering 0.5 was like, what, many months ago? No, I've definitely had instances where Rat King's been friendly since then. So I don't think that's true. I think I've let that fill up though. Or rather, I think we can play around and find out. Maybe it's because he doesn't maybe he doesn't respect you because you pray to him too much. Have you ever considered that? No, we're not doing Babel again. Oh no, don't worry. We've collected Rat King stuff many times. So Tarantula, there's a new kind of quest guy called Bunko who offers you a bunch of quests to go and like collect stuff. And essentially he gets you parts to construct the railgun. And the railgun is essentially like an emplacement you can place down with two other players. You need at least 2 other players to build it. There are ways of getting around it via like exploits or bugs. But as intended, this is supposed to be at least a 3-man job. And you basically bring this stuff into the raid, and then you basically build this. And this weapon is the way to kill unkillables. Or rather, not kill, but just incapacitate unkillables. And that will let you basically loot them for their codex. Essentially, it's just a reward for PvE. There's a lot of rhetoric and discussion we can get into about the railgun. We've covered it a lot. There's the biggest point of contention is there's lots of solo players who do not like the fact that some content has been locked behind a group. That's like camp one. I am more in the sense of, like, it feels like it's pushing us to do something that we're not even supposed to be really doing. It doesn't, the mental image of the game to me doesn't feel like it wants the railgun. I mean, the railgun was just this novel thing to include Deftone to just, like, allow players to have some, like, group content, really, right? It's not very deep. The bunker quest line's kind of cool. A lot of the quests are kind of shallow, though, but, like, it was at least, you know, cool for the first time through. But no, like, I don't really care if there's content behind groups as long as it's not like the focus of the game, right? Like the co-op players getting, you know, some cool stuff here and there, that's ultimately fine with me. I'm more concerned about like how the railgun doesn't mentally fit the game for me.
We should have chosen another exit.
Yeah, it's the whole you're not supposed to be that guy. Like there's some people who are just pet peeved or peeved that like they do want to be that guy, but that they want to be like just a solo that guy. They don't want to play with people, right? Sometimes the back, plug pull, I guess we can go straight. Yeah, that could work too. I mean, we tested out IEDs forever ago, right? On Exos, and it didn't really do a whole lot, but yeah. Yeah. Alright, let's get him murdering. But no, like, the biggest thing that, like, kind of irks me about the whole thing is just that it just makes me question, like, what is the game supposed to be? Because the whole railgun thing kind of feels much more of, like, a shooter type of thing, right? Is like, go in, like, you know, put the railgun down, kill something, take its stuff, and then get out. Yeah, they pushed out a lot of maps recently. If you haven't played since, like, last year, all of the maps are currently in the game. At least in an in-progress capacity. You know, I'm gonna wait till you guys come up here. Yeah. Wait, hold on here. You guys got quick. Alright, we're good. The maps do have a good atmosphere. That is like the best part of the maps, is the maps do look great. Yeah, that's kind of mentally how I pictured it in my mind, is like, not necessarily, like, I would prefer emergent over static like that, but like, that stuff like that still works for me, right? Especially if, like, you make it like a late game thing where, like, it's not something you do very often. That's kind of the problem with the railgun too, is like, once you have a railgun, it kind of is just a thing you can do whenever you want to and very often, right? It's, for example, like why, well, it's not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons why, for example, I haven't done a community stream in a while, just because the only really, the insinuation with a group or a community stream is just to do railgun stuff for 4 or 5 hours, and I just don't really find that interesting. Yeah, Deadtone, I'm not sure exactly if that's gonna change, to be quite frank. I think it will be an issue if they don't, but I also don't think they're going to. In the grand scheme of things, they have one level designer, and that level designer clearly has a philosophy. So, yeah. Thanks, Camphor. Appreciate it. Leave me alone. Alright, there's usually some mech components in here you can grab. Explosives. No, the grenades, or the AI is not really that sophisticated, Tarantula. They've done a good job of like fixing them up a bit, but they're like, ultimately they're still kind of, they're dumb, right? Like they are better than they are before, but they are just still kind of dumb. I haven't played it in a while, so I can't exactly say how it is now. I haven't heard, there are bugs in this game that get worse when you have latency. So like, yeah, in that element, it's not great. Like being the host and then being a player joining a host provides vastly different experiences. Depending on ping, I will say, it does depend on ping. Like if you're playing, like if you're from the United States and you're playing with someone from like Russia or from like, I don't know, Australia, when you have 200-300 milliseconds of latency, there's a lot of bugs that only happen in that instance. I was looking for parts. Oh, I know, I'm being dumb here. This room is for the grinder parts, not the mech parts. The mech parts will be outside. There can be some destroy mechs on the flanks here that will have the parts. Yeah, I would Tora for sure. That is honestly one of the biggest vibe complaints I have, is just how like this is me assuming, so I will just go ahead and preface it with that. I get the sense that they're trying to make it feel like an RTS game that has like lots of units going around and fighting. And part of an RTS game, right, is that like volume of units, right? It feels wrong to call your game like you're in an RTS world and for it not to be flush with units. I can understand that. At the same time, like, there's only so, like, you can't make enemies as lethal as they should be. You probably can't make gunplay as lethal as it should be because the respawns would make things unbearable. And like the problem I have, right, is like because of that dynamic, that like I just feel like there's never going to be a way for them to take away that guy feeling without making it unbearably annoying. And what I mean by unbearably annoying is the point where like it's a stealth game, or it has stealth elements, but you can't stealth because of how dense the maps are with enemies. Like, what am I supposed to do here? Like, if they're just like sitting here starting like right? Are they just supposed to like, I guess a decoy grenade is what I'm supposed to use? All right, back parts. Yeah, there we go.
Trying to carefully.
What are you? You're stuck in there. Go away. All right. Hey, civilians. Be free. Yeah, so like they have, the hand signals are cool. Like the animations are better. They do like they've done some good passes on the animation quality across the board. That's been great. And the enemy AIs like do look better and function better. They're supposed to like, I guess, take cover, but they don't do that all that often. I think Maskman's 24-25. He's the only one I have he's the only one I have masked out. I've kind of stopped prestiging on any of my characters. I probably should on Old Man. He's my lowest, but like I've just stopped prestiging. I don't really care for that kind of loop. It's a very weird leveling up system. Yeah, Camphor, but like that kind of just goes in my whole point of like I don't think we're gonna get that level of depth on maps, and I think it's a philosophical thing or like a design philosophy thing as opposed like I don't think it's coming, which is fair to each their own. But I hold the alternate opinion. All right, so we're gonna repair the mech by putting down the mech parts, and then we're gonna set the mech on fire. Leave me alone. I have both repaired the mech and destroyed the mech by causing a grease fire. Hey, stop that. Drone of the sky. Alright, we are good to leave. And we're also getting low on ammo too, so it's probably wise to leave. But like, considering Camphor, like, we have downtown, where like, to me personally... Alright, ignore the civilians. To me, like, downtown was like the perfect opportunity to start showing some indoor areas, and we just didn't get that. So, it could be a time thing, it could be a philosophy thing, but like, ultimately... I think the juice is worth a squeeze in that regard, no matter the cost, because it just needs to happen to have maps have any nuance to them, but yeah, that's what it is. Leave me alone. I'm getting shot in the ass. How did that knock me down? What the hell? Alright, get up, please. Man, they really fucking took a hammer to the shotguns. Go, go, go. They really took a fucking hammer to the shotguns. It still uses like useful versus cyborgs because of the chain stagger, but man, it is the damage fall off is rough. All right. Oh boy, our quests are done. Are we gonna go do a downtown now? Let's go be old. But no, yeah, I haven't prestiged him. Like, he's my lowest. I think he might be, like, actually really low. But, like, I don't like doing this over and over again, so I just don't bother leveling him up anymore. It's such a problem. It probably seems like such a bitchy complaint on my end, but, like, it is just something I don't really enjoy, so I'm just not gonna do it. Let's see here. Our plentiful amounts of 50 cal. Let's not bring more than that. That seems like overkill already. Alright, let's do the town. So expensive. Oh no, the snipers cannot. The snipers stagger you. The knockdown only comes from grenades or like grenades, grenade launchers, exos. Snipers only do the stagger. Yeah, well they basically axe the water system prior, and now it's just a water tax whenever you want to go to a map. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you use like a word heat map, Camphor, on my fucking videos, nuance would probably come up the most, or almost the most.
Well, time to dive another dumpster.
If you're missing vendors in your innards, that means you don't have enough water typically. the old water requirement for to have unlocked traders is still there. So if you don't have above 16 water, I think 16 is the highest, you might not see all the traders. But no, yeah, Tarantula, they basically kill the old water system, and it's replaced with like a water tax system now, where essentially you pay for an entry cost on maps. Now, like, it's the old water system needed to go. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of the new one. My main complaint being is that it removed any systemic pressure in the game at all. And so, like, the game didn't really have a drive before. I mean, there was a small drive with water, but it has even less of one now. There's a few areas like that, Camphor, right? Like, we kind of ignored it on Mech Trench, but we can, on Mech Trench, go do a hacking minigame, like the regular hacking minigame, to unlock the first aid area, or the medicine area on what's it called? An Elephant Mausoleum. I will say, like, the causeway here, right? The roadways here are a great example of, like, alternative pathways. The drones can be an issue up here, right? But that's like a choice, right? Is like you can go high. Like, that actually does provide some choice, right? You're not real. It does actually provide some choice, right? Where you can say, like, I'm gonna go high, risk the drones, but like I won't be in foot fights with people. Or you could go low and hopefully ignore the drones or avoid the drones, and then, you know, take the infantry instead. Please don't shoot me. For your own sake, I got 50 cal here. I got lots of 50 cal here, actually. Let me go full auto.
Don't get boxed in. Spread out.
I just heard the alert sound. No. Leave me alone. There's one more to the right. Yeah, I mean, it's been in the game since March now, but yeah. Like, it is a better system. It's a better stand-in than it was for the previous system. But it still is a little rough. Oh my god. Yeah, they've done some good, like, if it's just running with low FPS, that's one thing. If you're getting stutters, try increasing your shader cache size. They've had some issues with shaders, and they still kind of do. They fixed a lot of the ones in this map, though. It can still be stuttering in a few areas, but it's not as bad. I think they did, John. I'm not sure if it's intentional or not. Tarantula, probably, yeah. Just, yeah, like, for example, right there, the stutters. This game does have, like, the one thing I'd say, like, they've done a great job doing optimization work on this game to make performance better for most people. Like, at the end of the day, it is a UE5 game, so, like, they can only ever push the envelope so much. But, like, the one big thing they haven't necessarily done yet is do a lot of, like, the shader work, in my opinion. Because, like, I'm sure you guys are all familiar, right? That, like, most games will have you pre-compile shaders before you actually load into the game. And this game can have issues where there's a lot of, like, shader stuff that happens even after that point. To the point where even, too, like, where it has to do it in the map. Yeah, that's a weird bug. I don't know what's up with that, to be honest. I've never had that issue before, so I have no idea. Set up. Alright. Alright, it's gone. But like, for example, like the problem I have with this map in regards to like this, once again, this is all cyclical, right? I've said this before. I won't keep on this too long. Like, this is like one of the few points of interest on this map, and it's interesting, right? Like, it is kind of cool and sprawling, and it's got a little bit of depth to it. But like, this is like the one of maybe two, if you really squint your eyes, locations on the map. Yeah, and that's pretty par for the course, right? But like, usually once you do that, you're good for the, like, it might take you a second or two to actually compile the shaders, but that you're good, right? This game doesn't really do that. And I don't know what for reason, right? But like, that's like the thing I think they might need to work on. Because I imagine for a newer player, right, who are used to compiling shaders and having the game run smoothly, to have a lot of shader issues pop up, like with stuttering and with like, sometimes you'll load into a map and half the stuff won't be rendered in because it's having to do shader stuff. And so like, to a more casual player who maybe doesn't have the patience, will be like, this game is clearly fucking broken and shit, and move on. I wouldn't really, I mean, maybe. I mean, this open area over here is very Ashen Masony, right? Because it's just a large open area. I can definitely see that parallel. If we go more over here to the right, it's back to like more streets-ish. I mean, Michael, I mean, your words for big map. I'm not trying to diminish their accomplishments, but like, I honestly just do not think any of the maps are extraction shooter maps except for maybe Frozen Swamp. Give me your stuff. And this is like the second area too. There's like two more areas after this, but they're all very small. CMK. See, I honestly don't really give a shit about poly count. I mean, with nanite, that seems to be the case, right? You're gonna have high polygons with nanite because that's how nanite works. Or that's kind of that's an oversimplification, but anyway. Yeah, like, I do enjoy all the rubble of the props around, but at the same time, I would much prefer less detail if the less detail meant we had more areas. Like, more gameplay areas. Yeah, Camphor, and I will say too, this might... I don't think I can say this actually, I won't say this. Let's just say, I'll say this at a very high level. I was very surprised with, what I was told, what maps they like over others. Because I do truly think Frozen Swamp's the only map in the game that ever comes close to being an extraction shooter map. Chainsaw, that's an alternate way of doing it too, is just having lots of variants. I still don't think it necessarily solves the problem, but yeah. But like, the two areas we're just in is like the two big areas of this map, really. Like that little shantytown area. And then that little, like, rooftop has a few quests set it to. If we go over here to the left, there's like a destroyed building, kind of, sort of. It's just like a, you'll see what I mean. It's like it's literally right here. This is like as close as we get to indoors, really, is this area right here, I guess. It's like just 3 levels of just rooms, really. Sometimes there's NPCs here, they're not usually lane fights here, but like it's just this kind of area of scaffolding and then just side rooms. Wait, did Elfin Mausoleum have rain? Wait, what? What, are you talking about like an old beta build? Like before they even went to early access? I don't recall Elfin Mausoleum ever having rain. Yeah, so that camphor is like my idea behind. So the problem is this, right? Here's the problem statement. You want to keep systemic pressure in your game, but you can't have it be IRL time based. So like that's the problem statement, right? Because like if you make it IRL time based, you have a few different issues, right? The first being is it's not very casual friendly. People who play 1 hour a week are severely disadvantaged, or even like they can't even play the game. And then you have the other biggest issue. I think I think you have the bigger issue with the problem statement, right? If you're trying to provide a balanced experience between different types of players, there is no way to balance it with an IRL timer when you have a person playing 1 hour a day or 10 hours a day. Like if the drain is over a static period of time that doesn't really scale at all depending on playtime, it doesn't really do anything, right? And so the whole day system was basically around is, what if we just restructure this to be turn-based? And by turn-based, I mean day-based. So a day would be, you know, it doesn't really matter how many shifts it is. It basically depends on how you want to balance it. Like, is a single day like 1 shift, 2 shifts, 3 shifts, 4 shifts? Like, for example, you could do a day shift that has like 2 day shifts and a night shift, right? So like you can do 1 like morning shift, 1 afternoon shift, and if you really want, you can do 1 night shift. And then that provides you a framework and how to balance water, right? And like have consumption matter. And it also provides an economic lever, in my opinion, to like balancing so many things. Like, for example, one of my biggest critiques of crafting right now is crafting doesn't feel attached to anything, right? Like there's no context to crafting, which means the IRL timers for crafting feel utterly fucking meaningless, and just arbitrary. But even just the simplest things of like if the IRL timer still existed and water drain still happened, I would say that the IRL crafting timer is fine and serviceable and good, because there's context added to the crafting timers, right? It's not just about this arbitrary weight, it's about the drain of water over time. It's an economic balancing act. So that means that it makes sense. And so if we had turn-based, you know, water drain, for example, you know, that adds weight to crafting time. So say, for example, if like Painless took 2 days to craft, or let's say 5 shifts to craft, that means that outside of just the direct cost of Painless, there is that hidden cost, that opportunity cost of the water drain. It adds context to it. So like, for example, if I go over to here, and like that's kind of like that's kind of what I mean by like there's this systemic loss of pressure when they removed IRL water, which I mean it had to go, right? But like the current system doesn't have pressure, and that pressure is an important driver, and it also is supposed to like inject some degree of like atmosphere to the game, right? But no, my problem with this, right, for example, is like, you know, we craft paint. This is the, I will say, this is the worst case scenario. Most guns do not take this long to make, to be quite frank. So like, I am cherry picking the worst case scenario. Most guns are nowhere near as bad as this, but I use the painless as an example because it is an extreme example, right? Of is there even a philosophy behind this in the current state? And like, there's no meaning behind the weight, right? Of like, if someone has a destroyed HMG and IFFs, why is the 31-hour wait here, right? It's not contextualized by anything, and I think I'm pretty fair in that critique too, because I even consider more meta things, right, as weighted or, you know, makes sense to me, right? Like, for example, like Warframe has crafting times. And you could kind of say like Warframe shouldn't have crafting times because it's arbitrary too, right? But in the meta element, the reason why Warframe has crafting times, it's because it wants you to buy platinum to speed it up. And that makes sense to me, right? Like, I can get on board with that because like, they're a free-to-play game. They are basically patience checking you. Like, if you want to skip and you want to get ahead quicker, you're gonna have to fork some money over. And I think like, sure, it's you know, it is monetization, but I'm ultimately fine with that. It adds context to the system, right? There's a reason why it exists. And so like that's what constantly pains me, for example, with the crafting timer system, right? It's just the context of like we have the what, but why? Where's the why here? Yeah, Paradox, I mean, like, that's a that's a statement. The problem I will say, Paradox, is fixing AI means different things to lots of different people.
Not dead yet.
And like, that's why I think too, I'm happy they put out the dev blog, because I think the dev blog means that they're gonna try a different communication method. And I'm really hoping, to be quite frank, I did have a heart-to-heart with Miles. I can't share all the details, but I do think that he took away a few things from our conversation, and I am hoping we might get a renewed statement eventually of the direction of the game in a concise way. Because the biggest thing, Paradox, or, you know, Tarantula, or just really anyone, is there's kind of this ambiguity of where the game's going, and I think having a new trailer or like a new piece of marketing material that really pushes the narrative in a certain way of like, yes, we are on track for X, Y, and Z, would do a lot. Man, it's quiet on Elephant right now. There we go. No, it's still quiet though. Did they not drop cyborgs? Okay, there they are. Well, those are ranged cyborgs. Yeah, I mean, it is. I'm absolutely positively sure they are so super busy. But like at the same time, when the ask is maybe an hour a month and 2 hours a month just for like a dev blog or just like a post, I don't think that is an egregious or overbearing ask, right? And I do think that, you know, I know they don't have a community manager anymore, right? But at the same time, that doesn't mean you can ignore community management, I think. And I did mention, I can probably mention this, I did say that they solved the hard problem first of finding an audience, right? Because there's plenty of games that are probably objectively good that come out, but just can never find an audience for their game. And so they kind of just, you know, flounder and die and just get forgotten, right? Have you ever had a game where it's like it's never discovered and like it's like a personal little cult classic for you? where you think it's like a very good game, but no one's ever heard of it, and no one's gonna give it a try because it doesn't interest them. But it's objectively probably a pretty good game. Hey, Bazu. Or Mr. Grooves, rather. Camphor, yes. To their own words, yeah, 3 engineers programmers. With one of the engineers basically being tied to performance constantly. So really only 2. They like, I think according to their own Q&A, right, they basically have an engineer chained to doing constant performance updates or performance work. And like, yeah, the short videos are great, or just like things here and there, right? Like, yeah. And I'm not saying, like, it's more in the sense of like, we have all of the art and the flair Tarantula. I think at this point, people just want to make sure that the game they signed up for is still on the table, right? And I get in the sense that, yeah, like, you know, it is probably annoying. I mean, if you look at it as developers and players, it looks like the players are being needy little bitches. I can get on board with that. If you look at it as stakeholders, if you get into the business lingo of, like, you know, your client or your stakeholder in this project, that quickly gets dropped, right? Because managing stakeholder expectations is a huge part of business. And that's literally what community moderation or management is, right? It's making sure, like, you manage your community, right? Because your community can be your friend or your worst enemy too. I mean, you can always shoot them an email, Camphor. There was that Fun Dog email. I'm not sure if they'll get back to you or not, but you could certainly email them. Bazu, that's fair. Like, or Mr. Grooves, that's perfectly fair too. Like, there's always gonna be those bad actors, right? But the problem is like, if you make it to the point where the bad actors are no longer bad actors, but actually just genuinely bringing up, like, actually, you know, perfectly fine concerns, that's the issue, right? Like, if you can't set it up to that it makes those, you know, the bad actors clearly bad actors, that's a problem in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just, yeah. And, like, the biggest thing, Camphor, too, is these guys are from AAA, and they've seen, like, firsthand the exploitation in AAA. Because all the monetization and just, like, you know, businesses are gonna always say yes. Like, AAA companies are always gonna say yes to exploitative labor, right? And, you know, they might just, like, even if you volunteer time for free, they might not accept it just because they don't want to go down that very gray path of, like, free labor, right? Or, you know, cheap labor or volunteer labor. It's kind of like that whole stigma too of, like, you know, you're here, you know, you have this trial period of unpaid internship before you get hired. Well, Bazu, I mean, it already, well, what you're describing, Mr. Grooves, though, is not necessarily, like, the thing here, though, right? Like, an engineer saying, hey, I'll come help you do engineer work, is not someone saying, hey, I'm gonna come redesign your game for you. Like, just because someone's doing developer work doesn't mean they're a designer, right? And vice versa. And I would say that too many cooks in the kitchen is more on the design front as opposed to the engineer front. And there's always overhead increases, right? Every single time you add a new person to a company, right, there's going to be an overhead increase. And, like, that's always, you know, the reason why middle managers exist, right, is because a company becomes so big that they have to add more logistical infrastructure to the company. That's what a middle manager is logistics, basically.
I'm still here.
Like, a middle manager is basically the bandwidth cost of hiring more people to do work. Is you need people to logistically manage those people. They're essentially the railroad, right? It's why, for example, too, when you start downsizing companies, like, you know, laying off employees, middle managers go all the time too, because tracks become, you know, obsolete. When you lay off, you know, 10% of your workforce, that's going to be a lot of middle managers gone too. Yeah, no, but as like Mr. Groves, that's definitely a thing too, where in my previous job before going to get my master's, which is what I'm currently doing right now, I did not. There were very few of those like middle managers, PMs. I technically had like I think 4 to 5 bosses at like one time, and most of them were middle managers, and most of them were just like they sit in meetings and talk. Like, to be quite frank, in the grand scheme of things, they did not have tons of knowledge on the systems we were working with, but like the company felt they were necessary, and so they existed. And technically, they could tell me what to do. That was fun.
Don't get boxed in. Spread out.
Thankfully, though, when like you're one of the few SMEs, I wouldn't say I was an SME per se, but like I was one of the few developers that could work with a certain program we were using. I get a lot of weight to being able to say no then, especially when being pulled different directions. And also, we had a stilt walker. I was excited for a second here. Oh, I actually will say, I wasn't direct healthcare. I don't want to get too particular with what I was in, because I don't want to dox myself. But I will say, Mr. Grooves, I was healthcare adjacent. I was more pharmacy-based than pure healthcare-based. So I'm very familiar with pharmacy data sets. Okay. We haven't done, I guess, the Scorch. We haven't done Mesa yet either. I'm kind of curious if I haven't seen a Stillwalker in so long. I wonder if there's like just some weird criteria I have to do. It might be wise just to do a map over and over again to see if a Stillwalker spawns, because maybe there's like, maybe it's there's a war base, but maybe it's like a, maybe it requires me to do something on a map over and over again to cause it to spawn, maybe? Like, maybe it's like an escalation thing, like you're killing your opens in this map over and over again, so it get punished. It works. I think it's the right spawn, actually. Yeah, we're good. I've only gotten the Stiltwalker once, and it was on Elephant, and I can't recall if I was, like, running consecutive elephants or not. Like, it was, like, the very first day of the patch, I saw one Stiltwalker, and I messed with it a bit and died. Alright, shaders. I think we're good.
Just gotta get through one.
Maybe we can like run Mesa a few times and see it. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
No win, fight ahead.
Yeah, I was kind of messing with it a bit, and I think it eventually stomped me. Yeah, the missiles were neat. It was like it lobbed them like really high. I'm not sure what it was shooting at either, though. All right, we're gonna have brawlers on the stairs today. Big full auto. Yeah, I mean, here and there. I'm not sure if they fixed it or not, but there's been problems or bugs with the helos currently where, they, what's the right way of saying this? They become one with the ground. I've seen the bug occasionally, but I haven't seen it consistently. But like there are instances, right, where essentially the helo will, hey. Get him. Get him, boys. Fuck him up. It's so utterly inept. I feel like it really needs an ability to swivel its gun better. It just cannot point its main gun at a fair way, or a way that actually works. Alright, well, I guess this was anticlimactic. As you can test out the theory with Rat King being angry at us now.
Pick your targets. Make every shot count.
Oh no, you know, like that's definitely, I guess, an element, right? Is that lots of units that feel like they should, like, remember the flying tanks and the choppers, right, are all great examples of this, like, things don't really have their mass and inertia. See, you guys think Rat King's gonna hurt me if he aggroes to me? I don't think so. Rat King is my friend that I don't care about at all. Oh, the chopper's over there being weird. Understood. I mean, actually, to be fair, despite I know, like, oh god, it's gonna be in the ground. That's gonna be a ground chopper. It might not. Well, we'll see. It's gonna be a wall chopper. Nope, ground chopper. I need to go to my people. Hold on. Come back. Get back over here. Stop running from me. Did it despawn? Oh, we went too far away. It despawned. Hey, Rat King. See, he's green. Green means friend. Everyone knows greens mean friend. See? Oh, goddammit. Hold on. You need to stop. I'll save you, Rat King. Anyway. See, he doesn't mind me being close to him. See? This is perfectly fine. Look. See? You guys say Rat King's not friendly. See? He doesn't give a shit. This is, you guys better enjoy this. This is about as close as you'll ever get to me praying to Rat King. Anyway, where was I? I don't know, maybe. If there are, I haven't figured it out.
That's incoming. Shit, someone's kicking.
Oh, it does have the gun. It doesn't use this gun at all, I don't think. But this is like the little small gun they get on their chest on their chest. Okay, so it is apparently angry at me now. If I kill its enemies, will it actually try to kill me?
No wind fight ahead.
Oh, did you just? We good? I wonder if the Merkava's keeping me occupied. Can we still? Okay, they fixed the mechs. Does this still work though? Hold on, I gotta experiment real quick. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, that still works. Okay, I freed the Rat. That was the thing keeping Rat King occupied. I freed him. I can't shoot through you. Alright, we're good. How's it going, Rat King? Wait, the Merkava's back. Uh-oh. No, no, no. No, no, no. Okay. I mean, maybe Rat King kills you if he gets aggroed, but it seems very hard to do so. Hey, Winged. I got a Water Thief mask now. How nice. Yeah, actually, let's run it back. Let's actually go run Mesa again. So we want to see if we can get the Snowwalker from doing the same map over and over again. Maybe, like, I don't know, killing your opens. Maybe that'll do it. Alright, let's go find a big boy rifle. 36M, bring some 20 mil, because why not? Let me get the repaired pack mule. I did not shoot him. He just we got road killed. He didn't attack us. We got road killed. Very, very different circumstances. RPK is fine. I need to buy some 7.62 though. Like he didn't. Rat King didn't attack us. Rat King just accidentally stepped on us. Let's see here, 20 mil. That's plenty. We'll bring our jump also. And let's go back to the same map again. We did kill a Merkava tank. We did kill quite a few Europans. So maybe, no, still Walker? Maybe? Well, the regular medium X2 actually have their pauldrons, and their pauldron guns, I guess the quad guns, whatever you want to call them, actually do a good job of shooting you if you're in front of them.
Just gotta get.
But like that's one of the issues with the Rat King, for example. He doesn't actually have those pauldron guns, and so you have the weird, you know, kind of thing going on where it can't really attack things it should probably be able to attack. Alright, we got our tanks. No HKs yet? I did not bring meds, shit. Well, we'll have to be mindful of that. I don't see a still walker though, so might be just be kill your opens go next. I'm kind of curious too, actually. I wonder, like, if you do... I don't think it's gonna be quest specific, but I'm kind of curious, right? Like, say if you have like low Europa rep, or say, for example, if you do lots of quests for a certain faction, like maybe not Europa, maybe it gets a still walker. I don't know. Or maybe it's the opposite, where you do lots of quests for Europa, you get a still walker. It's kind of wild to me that these tank fights are just like slugging it out while we just like strafed a tank with a shotgun and killed it. There we go. Oh, 100%. Yeah, no. Alright, let's go over to the bunker and then probably just leave and roll it back. Maybe we'll get a few quests too. Let's like run Mesa like maybe 5 times total. So we run it once. Let's run it like 3 more after this one. And do some quests too. And I think the biggest thing is just killing any Europans we see. Like maybe the still walker is an escalation of like, hey, we've lost a lot of ground here. Let's deploy a still walker to stop them from killing more Europans. It's very kind of quiet actually, Europa-wise on this map. We had like 1 Merkava and a few infantry. Tarantula, I wouldn't... Well, naturally it shouldn't be probably modeled or like actually have like AI fighting AI. I wouldn't mind seeing distant tank battles. Or just like, I do think, considering the context of like this RTS style warfare and like there should be fighting going on everywhere, it feels like, I do think there's like a big current emptiness in the ambient sound space. Like if we're in this giant war zone full of like enemies fighting everywhere and the respawns are instant, so that means there's things always nearby, you kind of feel like there would always be like chaotic fighting in the background, right, in regards to at least not on the map itself, but outside the map and just the soundscape. I could try disabling this too. That would be maybe a good test also, because this is a event for this map. Now this will give me HKs no matter what I do after this, which means the next 3 runs I'll have instant HKs, but I am kind of curious about if maybe that will have it spawn? I think it depends. With their current depth, I don't think the maps are that big, but if the maps had depth, I think they're big enough. But like, yeah, Mech Trench, Babel, like... Yeah, like, there's lots of maps that are too small, I think, but like, it's also more of a depth problem, in my opinion. But we already know it's not gonna happen, so it's I guess that's the case, right? If we're never gonna have depth, I guess size is the next best thing. Alright. That's run 2. Let's get some quests this time too.
Hey, we made it out.
and see if that influences it. Well, yeah, that's usually like the big thing too, Tarantula. It's just like, yeah, you can, it's almost, it's like scaling, like it's, for example, right, you can kind of take how games treat shotguns. Shotguns are very easily lethal out to 100+ meters. Do they lose their effectiveness? Sure, but they're still quite lethal. But video games will often neuter shotguns to be like 10, 20 meters at most, just because they're trying to scale that down to gameplay purposes, right? They're trying to keep it proportional to some extent and balanced, to be frank. And so, like, yeah, they're not going to have instances where, like, you're going to be shooting a shotgun at 200 meters because everything's scaled down in game for gameplay purposes. Actually, hold on. We don't need shotgun ammo. We need 20 mil. Alright, and then 762. Let's pick up, like, a water quest or two, or a quest for this map or two. Looking for Mesa. I guess this works? It is a Europa unit, I'm pretty sure. Let's not do sniper sweep. Oh, Tarantula, I've wanted APCs. I've wanted. That was like kind of my hope or my hopium for like the reinforcement update back. That was the update in March, was that we were going to start seeing like APC and logistical units, right? Like things that were just going to bring troops, and like the idea of like troops not respawning in map but being brought in and then moving about the map. And so, like, the reinforcement update was really just more about not having the respawns happen in front of you, I guess. Yeah, that's par for the course. That we expected that to happen because we did the thing, the tower. There we go. All dead now. Go away, Congo line. Be free. I'm trying to figure out conditions for a stilt walker. Maybe freeing you is one of them. Fly, my children, fly. Alright, let's see if the Tormentor is down here on top of the mech. Oh, yep, he is. Alright, Tormentor's dead. There's the HKs, I believe. Hey. Where the fuck did that come from? Alright, you're dead. Yeah, Tarantula, yeah. No, I mean, there's lots of design choices I would make differently, and we'll see how their design comes together. I will say, like, the tanks do just feel weird in this game. The Merkava and the T90 and the scaling of them is wrong, and just the way they shoot things is wrong. There's lots of wrong with those two tanks in the game. Actually, you're open. You need to die. Alright, no, hey. No climbing. Exactly, like, yeah, Berserk, I mean, like, Mr. Grooves, that's like 100% the thing. It's like, I would, a stylized game, right? Like, you can have things kind of be proportional to their IRL variants, right? Or the equivalents, right? But you can still have it be stylized for the sake of the actual game. And for gameplay purposes, right? I have bad news, everyone. If there was a video game that was exactly like real life, where if you got shot, you died, it'd be probably a really bad video game. Yeah, like, that's basically why I don't play Milsims anymore, is because sometimes it's like a run for 50 minutes and get shot simulator. Which, I will admit, was fun in my late teens and early 20s. Actually, I think only my late teens, to be honest. But I got, like, I had the Milsim phase for like maybe a year or two. But then I was just like, eh, it is what it is. Kind of bored with it. Hold on, hold on. We're good. It's not even that tarantula, it's just the scale in the games is actually, no, the scale of all the things in the game are wrong. I'm not sorry, not all the things, but the tanks, both the tanks in the game are scaled incorrectly, I believe. They don't look right. That's the biggest thing of all, they don't look right. And like, that's a big thing too, right? Of like, hey, it's not even about like, when you're a video game, you don't have to be right, you just have to feel right, in my opinion. And certainly the audience you attract to your game is going to have different ideas of that feeling, right? Like a Milsim audience or a gun nerd audience is going to be much more particular about the guns, right, than, say, a casual audience, right? That's kind of the, you know, community moderation expectations, I guess, or just managing the community and figuring out what the community like is leaning into. Personally, I would never try to satisfy the gun nerds. You're never going to satisfy them. The gun nerds are unserviceable. There will always be something you did not do right to them. All right, that was 3. I think we're going on 4 now. We can do this, yeah, perfect. 2 more quests. Let me bring a grenade launcher in too. Let's bring that out. Let's go over to the masked man. Just because I want to see if maybe a grenade launcher does something. Probably not, but you never know. Alright, I burned through most of my 7.62. Let's go over to the AK. Huntrix, I'm not gonna... It's an extraction shooter, so in a way it is kind of an off-brand, off-brand Tarkov. I would say it's more of a different Tarkov. It's not trying to do the same things as Tarkov does. Like, for example, it's not PvP at all, it's just PvE. But no, like, you would be... I do not have the time or motivation to ever try playing CS on that level again. Especially in the IGL capacity. That would involve me learning utility again, and I would rather pour bleach into my eyes. I'm not retired, I just don't want to play ESEA main. Ugh. I still pug, but I can pug without knowing utility.
Keep a record.
Like a true pug star. What? Smoke? I don't know. Mirage window smoke? What the fuck is that? I don't know how to do that. I've done both. I've played a little bit of Face It here and there, but Face It pugs are kind of like well, let me rephrase. It's different brands of shit. You have your premier pugs, which are a constant kind of interior check to see if it's a constant just like nagging in the back of your mind in Premiere of like, hey, is this guy legit on his sub 1,000 hour account? And then Face It, it's more of a question of ineptitude or just egos or just no lifers. I've done like maybe 4 Face It pugs in the last week, and every single one has had just like an individual player who would just I would have said meaner things to if I didn't have a public facing. Hello everyone, you're now seeing my Counter-Strike side, and if you've ever played a competitive PvP game before, it can get kind of toxic. And I am not going to pretend like I am a perfectly nice human being sometimes, especially when it comes to dealing with adolescents, who are also very toxic. I do not always take the high ground. All right. I guess they kind of fixed the whole. You know, wait. That's racking with pauldrons. What the hell's going on here? I will say, we're not like seeing any Europa at all now. Maybe we're doing this the wrong way. Do we need to like actually kill the other factions? It's Egos Huntrix, it's... Oh god, I don't want to mention names here because I don't want to like get anyone doxxed or get anyone targeted, so I won't mention names, but like... There's a prolific player on Face It, and I wouldn't... sorry, prolific is the wrong word. If you've played Mythic League on Face It a lot, you probably know this person, but they're a person who's chronically like made fun of because they're not very good at the game and because they say out-of-pocket shit a lot, and like they don't have the skill to justify their ego. And I unfortunately had a pug with them like 1 or 2 pugs ago, and I wanted to just... oh god, I had to check myself. Because he was talking shit to me, and I'm like, you know who you are, right? No one respects you. You're literally a laughing stock. Like, there's a reason why you were a chronic last pick in fucking Mythic League. But anyway, that's my mean me. That I did not indulge that particular time. Oh god, I will say, I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to dox myself again too, but like, most of my classes are Monday, Wednesday for my masters, and like, it is a master's of science, but like, I am in a class with lots of MBAs, and the university has gotten to the point now where like they've kind of 3 out of 4 of the professors are heavily leaning into AI because they've kind of seen the writing in the wall, and they're just like, yeah, this is inevitable, so we just have to lean into it. There's one professor that was basically just like, fuck no. Like, you're not allowed to use AI. If you use AI, I will count you as cheating. But no, like, and one of the professors too, actually, he actually made his own configuration of ChatGPT. It's so thoroughly cursed. Because like in the grand scheme of things, like I understand the usefulness of AI. I'm not gonna discount that, but like my main concern is always the ethics behind AI, right? Like I do agree with a concept that yeah, it's basically inevitable. But I can't help but feel we're gonna have eventually, not like, it's not gonna be like a Skynet thing, it's gonna be just a social unrest thing, right? it's gonna be a thing where just like you're gonna have so many people displaced and people are gonna be so thoroughly efficient. Yeah, just this, it's weird. Like, I'm kind of curious, right? Like, are we gonna get to the point where we're gonna see a saturation in regards to just the service industry or the tech industry? Like, we've already seen like the mass layoffs, right, of like, and that's kind of felt like saturation, but it's more just, I guess, people just trying to use AI as a way of circumventing having a workforce. Basically my point is this, as if I do not know if this is the case or not, but I'm like, it's a mental exercise right now, really, to me, because it just sounds interesting. Is there going to be a point where people are so efficient and can create things so easily that the actual labor of it is trivial? Because when we get to that point, that is an issue, to be honest. Hello, Orgamek. Like, it sounds like when we get to the issue when like things are so easy to make, the service industry and the tech industry and just the industries that, you know, like the first world industries, right, of like creating technology or just creating things for you know, B2B and stuff like that. No, go away. Stop it. No, leave me alone. I'm concerned it's going to not just be displacement of like, you can make the case, right, for in the Industrial Revolution, right? There was a large growing period with the Industrial Revolution where, like, you know, people had to migrate from agriculture to industry, right? And that took time and there was pain as people lost their jobs. But like, I'm kind of, I don't want to be full doomery, but I'm kind of curious, like, where are the people going to be displaced to in this instance, right? Like, you can say that they're going to become AI workers, right? They're going to like learn how to prompt AIs and work with AIs, but like that gets into my whole point, right? Of like, how much can we create and it still have value outside of the joy it brings us? Because you can say like, you can create art, right? You can, you know, you do things for fun. You play games, you create art, you read, you write. Those are all things you enjoy personally, right? And if everyone is doing that and pushing it out and creating content, it's this weird thing where like, it's almost like there's too much. And it feels weird saying that, right? Because it doesn't feel like it ever should be too much. But it kind of feels like it might be that way. Like, there's actually the inefficiency of humans doing work over time creates, I mean, I guess jobs in a way, but more in the sense of it means the things that we create have much more value because they take longer to make. Like, if you could create any game you wanted to make in the span of a month with AI, right? Like, you can create the assets with AI, you can create the code with AI, you can get it perfectly programmed with AI. We're not there yet, but let's just say theoretically. And if everyone could do that, right? Imagine, not necessarily, I wouldn't want to call it slop, because we're basically saying in this theoretical case that it's progressed to the point where it actually makes good content. Let's just not say it's slop. But it would be overly saturated, right? Does that make sense where I'm coming from? It makes sense to me, right? Like, I'm kind of viewing it as a societal issue of the sense of there is value in lots of things because of the time and effort it takes. And if all of those things become mundanely easy with AI to the point where it's done easily and quickly, it kind of mentally becomes dangerous in me to write, because like, you have, I don't see the displaced workers. Where do they get displaced to? And you could make the case, right, that this is where UBI has to come in. We're now to the point where, like, theoretically, right, not everyone has to work because there's just not enough jobs. there's not enough voids to fill with the amount of population in the world. And so like we have offloaded some of the workload to machines, and so we are now free to pursue what humans want to pursue, art or leisure or philosophy, and so on and so forth. A lot of your opens here today, but no Stillwalker. I think this is our 5th run. Yeah, no, you can, like, 100% John, that is 100% the parallel here, right? And like, you can say that during that time, right, they didn't know what job those artisans would go do then after then, right? Like, is there still a spot for blacksmiths when you have factories pumping out, things they used to make? And so there's still blacksmiths around, but they're really small now. It's like the point is like, where do all of the displaced workers go to now? Where do the artisans go to? What's the new industry? What gets like, so it makes a lot of sense, John, in regards to like the Industrial Revolution, because it's like, oh hey, we were replacing artisans with factories. So the artisan becomes a factory worker, or the artisan goes and does other skilled labor while we replace their job with factories. So there's a clear change there, right? Of we're replacing one type of labor with a different type of labor. But in this instance, it's replacing one type of labor with essentially not labor. You could squint your eyes and say it's labor in a way, but it's a different type of labor, right? It's a labor where you have people who are supposed to be insanely efficient because they can utilize AI. And their value is because they can do the role of multiple different workers at once. I mean, there is, Michael, but remember, there used to be back in the day, before the Industrial Revolution, you would have blacksmiths who would just make horseshoes. You would have blacksmiths who would make pots and pans. Like when I would consider a blacksmith an artisan, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean they make art. They just make conventional things. But now, because factories pump out pots and pans, you don't need to have a blacksmith do it, right? I mean, they do, right? But you don't need, like, pots and pans, though, Michael, right? Like, mundane shit made out of metal. I feel my point's pretty fucking clear. At least in that regard. Like, it's very easy to see what the replaced labor is in that instance, but in this instance, right, what is the labor, like the tech workers or service workers or like whatever's being replaced by AI, what's the actual labor change there, right? I guess you could say the labor change is people who are good at prompting ChatGPT or prompting AI and working with AI, but the nature of that, right, is like, there's efficiency gains, but like that is it supposed to basically be you're replacing all of these people with just basically people who are good at prompting AI. I mean, trenchly, yes, but there's always that like caution, right, of like there's always been that theory or like that rhetoric, right, of how efficient can we get to the point where we still have jobs for people, right? Like, it's always a concern with, like, robotics, right? If, like, say, for example, if you can make robots, I think Elysium does this, right? God, we're back to Elysium. If you have robots that can do the job of humans, right? To do, like, factory jobs or more mundane jobs or repetitive jobs, like, what does that person go do if all of those other likewise jobs are replaced with robots? You kind of have a void of labor. I think that's kind of a non sequitur, Michael, because we're not really referring to that, technically speaking, right? We're not really referring about, I guess, tangible products. We're talking about, like, software. We're talking about things that are, you know, designed, I guess, right? Like, you're talking about, like, an actual craftsman making something tangible. We're talking about, like, software, really. But like, in your analogy though, Michael, right? If we're gonna use, let's say for example, tables, if ChatGPT could pump out like create a table out of the ether, right? And you know, all it took is like people to go prompt it. Like, let's say for example, a table takes a year to make, and ChatGPT unlocks it down to a month, right? Like, it's that whole supply and demand things, right? It's sort of, but you kind of had to twist the logic a bit, right? Go away, XO. And there's also the people too where people don't usually always have, like, the common layman doesn't really have the funds to pay for an artisan craft, right? Remember, like, there's lots of instances where artists are patronized by rich people. That's been throughout history, right? Because they can't, like, the common layman can't pay them enough for the time it takes them for them to make actual things. Why are you going up there? Stay down here. Hey, no, stop it. Leave me alone. Railgun. But essentially, Michael, basically the reason why I'm framing it the way it is it's basically it just like it is kind of society, and you know, economies and governments have inertia and they're resistant to change, but what's not resistant to change is capitalism, right? In regards to wanting to pursue more efficient ways of creating profit. And so like the older systems lag behind that, right, by many years. And so there's the concern, right, where we're going to be living in this time in like say 10-20 years where the businesses have adapted, right, to this new reality, but the institutions, the government, the leadership has not. They're still living in the old way. And that's kind of the problem with technology, right? Is like if you're a programmer, if you work with technology, it is lifelong learning. Like things change all the fucking time. And if you're not into that, it can be exhausting. If you just want to like rest on your laurels and just, you know, coast through life, or just, you know, say for example, you're a senator and you're happy with your paycheck and you don't want to learn new things. That means let's say for example, a senator learns something about like a programming language. Within years, that's out of date. It might still be applicable on a fundamental level, but languages change over time and programming practices change over time and things get better, or things just get different too. And like, that's the kind of the concern though, right? Just like the institutions will lag behind, you know, the efficiency of capitalism, because for all its faults, capitalism is efficient, right? People want to make more money, and so they're going to find any way to just squeeze any ounce of profit out of a system or out of their business. And the question is like, is that ultimately good for society? And I'm not saying it is or isn't, right? I'm just kind of presenting the question. Like, and it may be a perfect world, right, where, you know, we all get so very good at creating things that, you know, problems are, you know, very easily solved with a month of time and an individual and an AI, right? You know, problems aren't really a big thing anymore, as we can solve the problems. It just takes a little bit of time and effort, but it doesn't require everyone. And so there's plenty of people without like problems to solve or work to do. And then it gets to the question of like, how do these people live, right? It kind of undermines the whole system of capitalism. All right, we'll give Mesa one more try to see if we can find a stilt walker. If not, we'll go to the next map. Oh, I mean, John, that is the perfectly fair critique of capitalism, right? In the sense of there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, because capitalism is a hungry machine that just wants to turn things into money, and that's a fair critique, right? The reason why ultimately I'm okay with capitalism, but it needs to be regulated, is just because there are plenty of people, unfortunately, that, and I would honestly consider myself to be quite frank. Without that kind of system, the motivation would not be there. Like, you can see the issues in regards to, like, you know, communism, right? With the 5-year plans and so on and so forth, is you had massive inefficiencies and corruption just because the systems didn't push for that, right? It wasn't about being efficient to make money, it was about doing the bare minimum to meet the requirements. And so, like, the weird perverse incentive of like being efficient so you do better helps make capitalism very efficient. Does it need to be regulated? Absolutely. And I don't think we're there yet currently. We kind of have lost the way on that. But yeah. I do think it's a necessary evil, unfortunately, in the current state of things. No, yeah, deepfakes are scary, 100%. And like that's like the last thing the internet needed to, is like more reason to not trust things on the internet. Tarantula, no, you like I do agree with that, right? Yeah, things do need to be like viewed through context and nuance, but I'm sure you can appreciate too how for lots of people that kind of thinking is exhausting. It typically takes a certain wired person to want to engage in that on a regular basis, because it is exhausting to approach every situation with context and nuance. Like, in a way, right, it goes against the way we store information, right? Like, there's a reason why we mentally store things under groups, right? Because it makes it easier for us to process. Is it easier, like, we can only ever know so many people, right? Is it easier for us to classify a group of people under a certain, you know, certain cultural name, or is it easier to us to like know a bunch of individual people of that culture? Like, do we need to know all of them, right? Like, imagine, for example, if you needed to know all of like the 1.5 billion Indians and all of their personal, you know, their personal things, right? All of their context and nuance, or can you just lump them under the folder called Indians? And like that is hyperbole, right? For the people, like I chose a extreme example as an example, but you can it can be much smaller than that too, right? It doesn't take 1.5 billion, it can just be tens or dozens. There's a reason, for example, when you want to memorize things, you break it down into small numbers and into chunks. It's how our brains are wired. Is it easier to remember one really big number or a bunch of small numbers in a certain order? I mean, Tarantula, there's always the concern though too, right? Of like, you can make like, there's the concern always, right? Though of like, yeah, yeah, you can always keep a person on hand for high-level decisions, right? Or just like as a review. But you can kind of see the dark side of that too, right? In regards to like, apparently, I'm not sure I need to say allegedly here. I'll say allegedly, but I'm pretty sure it was already shown that like healthcare, the for-profit healthcare industry in the U.S. was already using AI to mass deny claims. Let's go make denying claims even easier. Let's remove the human element. Yeah, no Stiltwalker. I guess we'll do one elephant after this too. I wonder if it's like multi-map based also.
I think they spotted us.
The funniest thing is too, Camphor, is that well, maybe not the funniest thing, but definitely a thing, right? Is that ever since Luigi, there's been several actual assassinations too, or you can call them whatever you want, killings of more CEOs. They don't talk about. The media is so fucking concerned now about, or the people that own the media are so fucking concerned now about violence being normalized that they're no longer talking about instances of assassinations. I'm gonna go this way instead. They tried for 2 months to discredit or just make Luigi look as bad as possible, and then they realized it wasn't working, so they just fucking stopped. All I'm gonna say, in a perfect world, I would never advocate for violence. I'm not advocating for violence right now. All I'm saying is that historically speaking, change has only ever come with violence or with the threat of violence. You know, back when the Great Depression happened, the reason why all of those social programs got passed and, you know, FDR got elected and all the rich people were happy with that and okay with that, they were afraid of being basically hung in the streets. Because in the grand scheme of things, there's more poor people than rich people. Hello, Mr. Mech. Oh, wait, you're aggro. Oh shit, you're an HK. Oh god, I'm sorry. I apologize. Don't shoot me, please. I just realized you're an HK. Thankfully, he can't shoot his main gun for some reason. Oh, what? Oh, alright. Yeah, that should kind of, John, be the massive hint that there's something wrong with society right now. That things are so far gone that people are cheering for that. I mean, myself included, to be honest. I mean, to be quite honest in that regard. If you're an American and you ever had to deal with healthcare, you can relate. It's a system that's so fucking dysfunctional, but there's so much money in it that it just won't go away. They just give a few senators a bribe here and there, and then, you know, oh, sorry, we got, you know, single payer is fucking untenable. It would cost us more money. What are you fucking talking about? We're already fucking paying $1 trillion in healthcare. And I know you can probably suss out where I am. I don't like talking about politics all that much, but you can probably... That was fucking close. You can probably tell I'm center-left, just to be quite fucking frank at this point, because I'm pretty sure it's painfully obvious. But I do talk to people on the right all the time, and like, there are lots of instances of us, culturally no, but like, on the problem side though of society, we do share lots of common ground of like, fuck the elite. It's just unfortunately some of us see it through a different lens than others. Like, I've talked to plenty of people on the right, and at least the layman's on the right. And when you're talking to a genuine person and not a bot or a shell or a grifter, like, they do generally dislike current society for, you know, the institutional corruption, right? Now, we have our different solutions, we have our different, like, views on who exactly the problem is, but we do agree it's there. we do agree that fundamentally there is something wrong. Vibe check? Let's do a vibe check. By vibe check, I mean, when I say vibe check, I mean I use a bad gun, basically. Or use a gun that's definitely not optimal. Yeah, I will say, like, once again, this is a vast generalization, so forgive me to some extent. I will say the typical thing I see with the people I talk to on the right is they generally aren't willing to engage in nuance all that much. And what I mainly mean by that is they are one of the more egregious offenders when it comes to oversimplifying things by categorizing them. If that doesn't make sense, I can elaborate, but I think it's pretty clear in my opinion. Essentially, they assign labels to things, and those labels are a way of them simplifying complex things. Not to say they're dumb, but just because the information's a lot, right? And it is, like, once again, exhausting to deal or think this way. It is lots of just, like, it doesn't feel fun to just not constantly be like, yeah, there's no problem, there's no clear solution to this problem because it all requires nuance, or all requires each particular instance, right? To be, like, thoroughly analyzed. There's not just like a drop solution or drop in the solution. Okay, we haven't done Scrapyard yet. Actually, we're gonna do Elephant Mausoleum, and we'll do Ruins too. Let's go talk to your Asia. Wait, vendors, there we go. Aramaki. Need to sell to Aramaki real quick. Yeah, they 100%, they operate in absolutes, typically speaking. And that's usually one of my go-to rhetoric points when I talk to them is like, you're dealing with absolutely no nuance. And like, you're over, like, you are equating one person to be as part of this whole, and you're labeling, like, well, they do this thing, right, where they'll pick out an individual who does something bad in the group, and then use that as a way of labeling the entire group as bad. Alright, we have our pitched battle here versus... So this should be probably medium X on the other side, I think, right? Or this... Actually, it's not always that case, actually. Sometimes there'll be a pitched battle here versus these guys versus medium X for Europa. But I guess not today. No, yeah, it is a human fallacy, 100%. And once again, I can understand, like, people just, it is exhausting to be constantly introspective and trying to check your own biases. It is exhausting, and I cannot fault people for not doing it. Especially when you're living a life with a job and a family and so on and so forth. It is just one of those things where, like, you can only have so much mental bandwidth. It's not because you're dumb, it's just because of how we're programmed as humans. Oh, media mech of the trench lines. Actually, hold on here. Come here, friend. I want a hug. Actually, I don't feel safe anymore for different reasons.
Whittle them down and we can break out.
No, yeah, there's a reason. I have always wanted a dog camper, but like, I've always known that just like I am hesitant to. Oh my god, there's so many medium X. I'm always so like hesitant to get a dog just because I would. It's one of those things, right, where I would be responsible, but like it would take me away from things I would like to do. Like I want a dog, but I also understand that like having a living creature that you're, you know, responsible for is a responsibility. Much like having a child. And so that always comes first. Play video games or take care of the dog? Take care of the dog. No, 100%. Like, and yeah, like it's hard to be introspective when you're constantly in the moment, right? Where are you? Come back. And that's going back and circling back. This is like one of the few things, like, right, of like in like a golden age type of situation, right? How AI could be super helpful, right? If we do get to the point where not everyone has to work, or people who do want to work, and like people are insanely efficient because of AI, and you have people who can, you know, be much more introspective because free time. It could be a thing too, right? You know, where maybe everyone works, but everyone only works a couple hours a day, or maybe like a couple hours a week. And once again, I'm talking about a theoretical utopia, right? So don't try to say like that's never going to happen. If, like, we are living in Christmas land right now. So suspend disbelief. But basically what I'm saying is, like, it'd be nice for people to have enough free time to basically allow themselves to think and not necessarily always be in the moment. Being in the moment is important, don't get me wrong. You don't want to always live in the past, the future, inside of yourself, right? But at the same time, too, not having any of that can be... It can feel like your whole life's a blur at that point. Alright, give me medicine, please. Thanks, Captain. Appreciate it. I mean, Tarantula, there are certain, like, hard lines I have in the sand, but, like, definitely on your point. Without going to an extreme with your point, yeah, absolutely. There are definitely instances, right, where I've talked to people on both sides, and I don't want to say they're irredeemable, but they're to the point where I think they're past any rhetoric getting to them. They're basically under, like, whenever you talk to someone, it's important to try and understand their base foundation of where they're coming from, because sometimes their arguments aren't because they're logical, but because they're trying to justify a core fundamental belief that was already there. It is nicely forever winter. Yeah, Captain. Well, I guess sort of. We still haven't seen a stilt walker. We tried for. Oh my god, that's so many fucking question marks. Oh, that's not a grenade launcher. Well, yeah, it's more in the sense, Tarantula. I've talked to a few people, right, who I've talked to a few people who would, like, say certain policies or certain things, and they would label them as efficient or as the right thing to do for different contexts, but they were really just using those arguments to justify their ideology and cultural purism. So like when I unmasked, or when I basically got them to admit that they're a cultural purist, that like there's not really anything I can talk to them about anymore in that regard, because whatever argument they're going to have is always going to be through that lens, right? Of at their core, they're a cultural purist. I can't really debate them anymore. For those unfamiliar, cultural purist is basically someone who wants segregation. They, for example, they view other cultures coming to America as tainting. It's not, yeah, 100%. It's arguments in bad faith, basically, is a way of putting it, 100%. But like, it's the bad faith argument, I would say, more applies to grifters who are, I would say, consciously aware they're arguing in bad faith. This can be subconscious, right? This can be just because they believe, like, at their core, right, they're a cultural purist, and so they might not maliciously or like consciously think this way. They might just gravitate toward these policies because at their core they're that. And definitely there can definitely be instances too of people arguing bad faith there also, right? But there are definitely people who have xenophobia, and I can't blame them, right? Xenophobia is a perfectly human response, but like it's one of those things where I feel like you have to work through it, right? Like, to be quite frank, like if someone from a faraway land moved next door to me, there would be some semblance of xenophobia there, right? Like, I don't know this person, they're like, their culture's foreign to me, but like I know not to act on those instincts, right? But there is that like fear, like that, like, you know, that what's it called, that primal instinct, right, of just, hey, this person's different from me. There's kind of an underlying fear here. All right. Grenade launcher. I want to pew things. Hey Delta, how's it going? I haven't Frozen Swamp in a while. We'll do Cemetery, I think, in a second, but we'll do Frozen Swamp first, because I already got my ammo on. Oh, let's actually do a quest. You're in the train, so we can do that. We'll need to bring a few drills for you. Other than that, we need probably one more quest. There you go, Warden's also. Yes, yes. Go away, Kane. Again, well, I think their map design, like, cause they have a level designer, right? I think the level designer is going to keep working on either the levels we currently have, or maybe a new one. But I do hope they're working on systems. And I honestly, I'm like, I'm a streamer, part-time naturally, as I'm, you know, getting my master's, but like, I am, like, I have an incentive for them releasing more content for me to stream, because my biggest streams are always when a patch comes out. Like, not even close. It's not remotely close at all. But at the same time, fuck me, just sit in the tank and build your game. I am perfectly okay with the longer-sighted thinking of like, hey, sit in the tank, build your game, you know. If it takes you a couple months, a year to sit in the tank and not release a patch, hey, it is what it is. You're an early access game. We have an early access build. You don't need to pump out monthly patches to tell us that you're doing stuff. A dev blog here and there, perfectly fine, but I don't need to see a patch every month, even though it would benefit me greatly, financially. Like, I have a financial incentive for them to release a game or a patch every month. But I personally am much more inclined to view the long-term investment as more favorable, right? Of like, hey, build out your systems, build out your game, present it to the players when you're ready, and when you think you have a full game in front of them, or at least a game to the point where it's like got enough stuff in place. Oni, yeah, that's the beauty of being center, is you can make the argument about every side. There's the toxic left and there's the toxic right. No one, like, that's the beauty of nuance. No one can escape it. I'm not saying, I use the example of a person I talked to on the right because it's a really easy talking point. Am I saying that the only person like that exists on the right? No. I think cancel culture is toxic, to be quite frank. Like, yeah, I can be fucking nuanced. The question is, can you? Alright, let's go murder some wardens real quick. Wardens and then train yard. I'm actually, game shit, I'm actually in their dungeon. Oh no, there's definitely, Gaiden, yes, there's different extremes, yes, 100%. They're not comparable, but they're both still toxic. They're different kinds of extremes of toxic, but they're both toxic. They are not directly comparable though, I do agree with you. And then we can get into the nuance of that, but I'd rather not to, but like, yes. Under the perspectives of both lenses, yes. Hey Carmine. Actually, I love this map. Like, this is my favorite map in the game. It's what I would consider the only extraction shooter map in the game, to be honest. Hello, Wardens. Is there 4 of them? Oh my god, there's so many. Oh god, leave me alone. I'm seeing so many marks, and I'm so very scared. Oh, leave me alone. Alright, wardens are dead. So Canfor, they did mention in a very early Q&A that like that would be kind of the idea. The thing they mentioned in later Q&As though is that like they're concerned about like the ballooning of the file size of the game, because as they add more maps, it means they need to make more bespoke assets for maps, which means higher file sizes. Because that is the downside of Nanite, the technology they use for dynamic LODs, is that it takes up storage space by the handful. Hey Novel, meh? And Canfor, I mean, to be perfectly fair too, I would critique the hell out of that philosophy. I think you have... Considering their games like pitch of like, you know, there's AI building out things constantly and rebuilding, doesn't that just like really lean into the idea of just recycling assets over and over again? I think Canfor, that's more just that they... I don't think it's that, Canfor. I don't know, but I don't think it's that. I think the shader issue is just an entirely different thing entirely. And the shader thing has been an issue forever. Like even at early access launch, right? Like increasing the shader cache size was how you fix stutters. See ya, John. All right, any more soldiers in the soldier factory? I mean, while I'm here, actually. All right, Mr. Chin. Or sorry, Captain Chin. He's gonna be very upset in a second. But no, like I would be perfectly fine just them recycling assets and just creating new maps with the same assets. Because that would mean that you wouldn't need to add many more assets to the game. That would increase the file size. Like, between all of the maps, I definitely feel like they almost have enough assets in the way of, like, to create things out of. I don't know. It feels that way to me. Yeah, I've always been like, it's easy to say this, Canfor, for sure, but I have always been a fan of, like, dynamic or emergent, like, behaviors in games, or systems that, like, I'm always been a fan of systems that are, like, that just operate with each other, and from those systems you get emergent behavior, or emergent games, right? But I also understand, too, like, oh, let me get the fuck out of here before I get murdered. I also understand too, like, that is like the dream, right? Naturally, I think every game developer would love that, but like that's saying it and doing it is two entirely different things, and it's much easier to say it than to do it. Because it's complicated, right? It's lots of systems and how do they work together and so on and so forth. Hey, Jay. When is Gamescom? Is it soon? Is it this weekend? No, and considering the requirement, or the problem is too, is they have not a lot of engineers. Yeah, I understand. So many bodies. Oh no, yeah, this is not Mr. Cold Cuts. This is Captain Chin. So Captain Chin's been around for I think 2 or 3 months now. But there is Mr. Cold Cuts also. Oh, in an hour? No, I'm not gonna be around then. I'm gonna probably stop streaming like maybe like 15, 30, 45 minutes. And I have class later, so. So I will not be around for that, unfortunately. Hello. Goodbye. Yeah, it's been a hot second. We got Captain Chin, we got Mr. Cold Cuts. It's considered full-time, but it's full-time at the graduate level, so like it's only 12 hours a week, but like it's graduate level work. Listen, that's all I had left. Basically, like, when I was actually talking to the, one of my professors, he basically said, like, yeah, no, like, we don't allow grad students to take more than 12 hours a semester. I don't feel safe anymore. Leave me alone. By XO. I will say, my favorite thing about this quest, the part 4, is it does cause, like, this is the reason why I do like the bunker quests. I don't think a lot of them have enough depth, to be honest, but like the concept behind the bunker quest is really cool because part 4 changes the entire kind of how chaotic that injector site is. Because at the base of the map, or base of the injector site, when you have part 4, it's like 4 exos, it's infantry everywhere fighting, you have the wardens up top. It does make it a literal hellhole to get in and out of sometimes, which is cool. Well, Jay, you got to keep in mind, the engineers, programmers, engineers cost a lot more money than artists, to be quite honest, to be quite frank. It's in a way, skill diff. Engineers are expensive. And so, like, You know, I'm not saying they can't add another engineer, but like, there might be something they're very particularly looking for. Like maybe they're looking for like a certain type of engineer, and that type of engineer might be rare. They might need to like, you know, poach it, or just might demand too much salary for them to financially consider at this time, right? Like, you know, if they onboard an engineer who makes 100K, like let's say like 100K a year, just to be easy, right? Just, you know, yeah, it adds up. Especially considering, I imagine, too, after doing their first early access release, things have probably, and it's, sorry, 100K a year in salary, but also benefits too. Frozen Swamp's by far my favorite map, and it's not even close. Mission. I do like Plug Pull. Well, I like Plug Pull. Like, there's a quest for Mech Trench called Plug Pull, and I really like Plug Pull because Plug Pull does make the map a bit more like active, I guess, in that capacity. But it's probably not my favorite. Let me see here if I can see one. Trying to think. What's my favorite quest in the game? What's something that I will do? Like Plug Pull I go to a lot, to be honest, just because it's got that extra flair, right? It's like, it's one of those quests too, right, that like has a quest objective that's not traditional. It's not like a go fetch quest. It's not a go kill quest. It's go and just interact with something. And you can do it stealthily if you want. It's fucking hard as shit, I imagine, because the infantry are like right next to it. Or you can go kill the guards around it too. So I do think Plug Pull is like probably my most played quest by far, and I do enjoy like I enjoy the story behind Plug Pull. You know, a Euruscan officer got captured, Eurusca wants him dead so he doesn't spill any secrets, so you go in and, you know, pull the plug on this Eurusca they're keeping alive. 100% novel, yeah, we're basically 1 month and some change away. Alright, time for Cemetery. Yeah, my only concern, games at this point, that like GoFundMe's have a stigma at this point. Uh, 762. Actually, we're gonna be doing tunnel vision, so I don't need ammo at all. There's one. There's two. Let me actually go ahead and select that one also. There we go. Yeah, and Plug Pull's like, in the grand scheme of things, Plug Pull's a pretty simple quest. It's just that I think it's well done. Now, like Mech Trench has issues too, right? Like doing Plug Pull is really easy, but doesn't diminish its coolness. And that's more of a Mech Trench problem, in my opinion, than necessarily Plug Pull. Chainsaw hates Rat Gang. Well, we are quick friends here. Don't tell Blood Panda.
It's always the same up here.
Game shift. My group is growing. The anti-Rat King enthusiasts. Unfortunately, let me see here. The ping has gotten a little bit unreliable nowadays. No? Go away, dog. Bad dog. Heresy would require, like Michael, for it to be heretical, it would require some dogma to exist. And there is no dogma concerning the Rat King. Once again, blasphemy would require some degree of dogma to exist. I'm really curious, like, is there like a spawn for this burying secret? Like, I know of 3 spawns in this map for burying secrets, but sometimes you can come to this map and it's not in any of them. So is there just a 4th spot I've never found, or is it like a bugged 4th spawn, or is it just like a chance for it not to spawn? Be free, my children, with your 5 megabyte shoes. I mean, to be fair, they are nice shoes, though. They deserve every ounce of those 5 megabytes, apparently. Beautiful shoes. Alright, civilians, I need you to actually escape, please. There we go. Alright, we won't be able to do burying secrets just because, unfortunately, I did not find them in my 3 spots. I actually don't know the underlying definition. I know people can, like, I know the general concept behind sacrilege, but I don't know the actual definition. So I imagine it probably requires a dogma, but maybe not. I do not know enough. Does sacrilege require a dogma? And there we go. There was cemetery. We avoided the dog, we did tunnel vision, and we got most of our quests done. We have done our mandatory checkbox of underground cemetery today. Woohoo! Yes, yes, yes. Civilians are back. Whatever. Yep, I'm back alive. Yep. Alright, we can get rid of this. Alright. It's probably time for another downtown. We haven't done downtown in a little bit. We haven't done Shaman today either yet. Let's go over to Shaman. Shaman. Is it time? You know what? Let's see if we can summon Reiji. And I know just the trick to summon him if he's here. Where are you? I would say just do not try this at home. It's not worth the pain and suffering. Save yourself. Don't do this. It's not worth it. It's God, no, we don't need that much ammo. There's no way we find that much ammo in this raid. Alright, and then bring some of the medkits over. We're gonna need lots of these actually, probably, to survive this. It's temperamental. I had to move around a bit to get the explosives to place. It's temperamental. I did get it to. I have done it before, so it does work. It's just it is picky.
For those below.
You just have to basically move around and keep placing it until it decides to actually work. No, yeah, pistols are kind of in a weird spot right now. It's like, what, I mean, you could buff them to the point where they give you, like, maybe stealth, or, I don't know, less threat, or something, but yeah, there's, like, the whole thing of, like, should they just have their own slot? In a weird way, I wouldn't hate the concept of primary pistol, and then, like, specialized rigs for 2 primaries. It's probably wouldn't be. Oh god, yeah, alright, that's the checkbox. Let's go to the checkbox here. Alright, let's go ahead and mark down the LA joke. That box has been checked now. No, you're not aggroed, you can't do that to me. I want to go in here. I'm kind of curious where we can't. This long tunnel. Is there? Can we see in here? Actually, can we go up here? Nope. Curse you, invisible wall. Wait. No. Let me head. It kind of feels like with all this stuff on the ceiling that's like something's supposed to be here eventually. Maybe later, I guess. Let's go take a gander, actually. What's above here?
Nothing to be done. They must be cut down.
Oh god, shaders. Man, it's really sucking right now. Frames? Alright, frames are back. Oh, I guess we were just seeing these. Oh yeah, there's a hole in the wall. We were just seeing this stuff.
They have arrived.
I'll tell. Oh, we're gonna go and reload. Remember, don't forget, after every single kill with the VKS, you need to reload. I really don't feel safe here. Okay. Oh god. I'm sorry. Oh fucking crap. This is why I brought 20 med kits. Man, this gun is just pain and suffering. Oh yeah, there's two guys. Oh my god, there's two. Hi guys. I like your guns. Wait, is those sights? Those sights are new, I think, right? It had it had this above it. I think when I did my video, it had this on top of it, the top rail, but I don't think it had the sling mount. I don't recall a sling mount, at least. I like the design too. For a mech unit in this game, that's my current favorite because they do have that like very crabby look. Maybe crabs. I mean, it's funny the first time, but I've heard it's like literally every fucking time that like we like play this map, the LA joke comes in. Yes, 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 yes. LA's a shithole. Understood. Yeah, what?
Incoming.
Hitbox? No, no, that's getting into gundism. That's getting into the gun nerd shit. Like, okay, bear with me here. Think of all of the shit Tarkov has had to change over time to appeal to the gun nerds. And every single time, all it does is add more bloat.
Peace through discovery.
Yeah, the problem in Carmine is like where is the line drawn, right? Because if you keep meeting them at their goalpost, they're going to keep moving the goalpost. Sometimes you just have to make your own goalpost and be content with that.
Nothing to be done. They must be cut down.
So much fall damage. The idea, I mean, like, ballistics is cool, don't get me wrong, but like, it's always the trade-off, right? Is it really worth all of the effort? And is it ultimately going to create a balanced and interesting experience? I think some guns can be hit scan. I do agree with the concept that most guns shouldn't be, but for example, our quote-unquote railgun in the game isn't hit scan. But like, that's one of the instances where I can be okay with a hit scan gun, right, as a railgun. Because at that point, you're fast enough to the point where, yeah, hit scan doesn't matter, or hit scan's perfectly fine. But yeah, for most guns, I do prefer projectiles as opposed to hit scan. And thankfully, I mean, like, UE5 does push developers to do projectiles too, as opposed to hit scan. You can do hit scan in UE5, I'm not saying you can't, but like, it's a thing you have to go. It's not something they push you toward immediately. They push you toward projectiles first. I still have so many bullets left for this VKS. I don't know why I brought so many. I've used 10 medkits so far, and I've only used maybe 50 bullets. That's perfectly fair too. Now, thankfully, I mean, most maps at this point wouldn't even like bother at that point. But no, I think Battlefield 6 is doing something similar to that, right? Where they have a tapering off of velocity. So like CQB wise, the projectiles are very, very fast to the point where they basically are hit scan. Hold on. All right, we're okay. 100% Karma, I'm in your camp too, right? I am more concerned about the fun and the fun element, but more about like the design of like the gunplay should fulfill the purpose of the game, right? Like if you're trying to do an anti-shooter, right, the guns should be difficult to use, in my opinion. They shouldn't be I don't want to say ergonomical because that's kind of a real life thing, but like they should kind of feel like they have weight and are hard to use, and just they feel powerful, but because they're powerful, they're also dangerous. And attention grabbing, right?
Do not allow yourself to be surrounded.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel like the caution though in Game Shift, right, is like the shotgun in its current iteration is like getting to that point where it's like they've changed it to be a slingshot, right, of just having to shoot 20-30 freaking shells to kill something sometimes. Well, I'm not saying, yeah, I mean, Carmine, 100%, but like at the same time, I'm saying like in the grand scheme of things, you can have instances where like people will prefer a gun IRL, not because it's like got a higher muzzle velocity or more, you know, energy down range, just because it feels better in their hands, right? Or because it operates cleaner to them. And you can't really necessarily relay that 100% into a game. You kind of can through like feel, right? But the feel's going to be stylized. I'm perfectly on board with that too, to be honest. Like, I want stylized guns, like 100%. I think that not leaning into stylized guns in a video game is just gonna cause things to be homogenous and kind of boring ultimately. Like every rifle in this game, like every intermediate cartridge rifle in this game is basically the same. Different ammo types, sure, but they all basically play and feel the same. Yeah, okay, alright, gun nerds, calm down here. Next we're gonna be posting that damn chart in chat of precision and accuracy.
Every run, we bring back hope.
See, this is what you all do. You all take a conversation and you make it about guns. And weird shit about guns that games shouldn't probably give a shit about. Look what you do. I understand though, it's perfectly fine, I'm just memeing. 100% game shit, like that's kind of a design of like when you do all bespoke guns in Dead Space, right? They all serve a purpose and they're all supposed to like provide a gameplay, you know, thing, right? Well, Ram, I would kind of blame Tarkov for that, to be kind of honest. I mean, there was instances before, like you can even say like, what's it called? Rainbow Six 3. Was it Raven Shield is what it called? This probably wasn't the first game to do it, but Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six 3 Raven Shield, if I recall correctly what's called, had like 80 guns in it at launch. And it definitely, I'm not sure if it was the only game to do this, but it had lots of instances of overlap. I think all the guns felt mainly different, but I would need to go play it again, to be honest, to actually critique it. But like in my mind, it was one of the earliest. Ravenclaw, okay. Yeah, it's been a fucking hot second. I might need to go reinstall it. Maybe I'll try it out and see if the guns actually feel all that different. Because there was like, that was one of its selling points, right? Is it had lots of different guns. But no, yeah, like Tarkov kind of, I don't want to say it's only Tarkov, but like Tarkov really pushed the idea for extraction shooters of having lots of guns that kind of feel milsim-y. But because they're milsim-y and because they're rifles, they all kind of feel the same in a video game context. Oh, 100%. No, Ubisoft has killed everything they've ever touched, unfortunately. Alright. I need to be ready for class. I'll see you guys, I guess we'll do Thursday? Thursday normal time, though. Thursday not at 10 a.m. We'll do 1 p.m. like normal. That's a free day for me, so that's perfectly fine. Other than that, yeah. I'll see you guys Thursday. Take it easy, everyone, and I hope you all have a good day.